Welcome to all our visitors. Thanks for coming. Technology report.
Okay, so before COVID hit, we had started looking at upgrading the projector in the Commons and possibly adding a projector to the high school gym for different presentations. Basically, the projector in the Commons, being 13 years old, it's pretty much unusable. It's so dim and everything. Then COVID hit, so we kind of put that on the back burner. And finally, with Keith talked to me that since we have ESSER monies, we would be able to tap into that to help fund, or actually to pretty much totally fund, doing that upgrade and also looking at the gym. So that quote was kind of an addendum because it came in late Friday. So it's an addendum to the board agenda to kind of get that process going. It probably won't even be installed until hopefully it'll be, I'm thinking after basketball season because I don't want them working in the gym when basketball's going on. But with COVID, equipment and things like that, it's just hard. It's like a long delivery process for that. So that's kind of a big line item that's in there, but it's totally funded. I got with Mike on Friday when I finally got the quotes. We looked at 3 different vendors and went with the best vendor there. And so that's kind of the big thing on the agenda too. I don't know if you guys looked over. If you had any questions, we could address those. If not, from there, what that'll do is it'll upgrade the projector in the Commons, make it very usable. It's going to upgrade the 4 TVs in the Commons, so that we'll be able to project to the projector and also to the Commons, so it'll be kind of simultaneous. And then I know Mr. Slattery's been really wanting to be able to do better presentations, like if we have something going on in the gym. And so we added that in, so there'll be a projector screen in the gym on the short side. So the screen will come down, the projector will be kind of on the rafter, and will also come down, and it'll be up out of the way during practice and everything. So that's the quoted what we're going to do.
Jeff, did you talk about the hookups that's currently in there? And did I miss that? Sorry. Switching it out to because what's in there now is not user-friendly at all. It's not even working, is it?
In the Commons.
Yeah,
In the Commons?
it works.
But not,
But
and the
yeah,
projector's really bad.
Yeah, occasionally you have to go and flip the breaker to kind of give it a kick, and then it works. But yeah, like all that equipment we replaced, so hopefully it'll be much more reliable from there as well.
And that can all totally be funded with the ESSER money?
Yes.
So what we have now stopped working just because the technology was outdated, or it's just worn out, or it didn't work right to begin with?
Right. Well, oh no, the projector when we moved in 13 years ago was fine, but we're lucky we even got 13 years out of the projector.
Okay.
I mean, right now
I didn't
it's
know
just,
what the life expectancy is or something like that.
We were real lucky to even get 13. It's been like 2 years. We've kind of milked it, and then this year it's pretty much, they don't even try to use that. They'll either take down one of the smart boards, Clever Touches, out of the library. We also have a projector that they use for the musical that we can cart down there, but again, that's not something.
Sure.
Yeah, staff presentations now, 72 teachers, aides, everybody else. We take a projector down with the Clever Touches because it's not even worth trying to use it, and just because it's so dim and doesn't function properly. And I want to reinforce the fact that, in our gymnasium, it'd be amazing to have a large projector screen to drop down and do any assembly. I think it's commencement, we think of the Veterans Day assemblies, and there's a lot of different opportunities to use it, and we're looking forward to that.
So they'd be synced, the gym and the Commons, so you can run the same presentation?
We would be able to, because we'd be able to plug in, say, our computer in the Commons, and then we'd wirelessly be able to project to the.
Cool.
So I didn't add the expense of actually using a wired connection, just because I can do it cheaper. Okay, so that's projector, no questions. I think it was I don't know if it was last board meeting or board meeting before, I talked about our online payment system. And I've looked at a different system that I'm really more pleased with, that is more user-friendly. And I know we kind of got into a discussion about, do we want the convenience fee of this, absorb that, or do we potentially want to pass that cost off to the parents? I've kind of held back with changing the payment system until I got feedback, because when I do all the paperwork to get it changed, we have to indicate how we're going to do that. So I guess before I move forward, I need to get a feel for what your thoughts are, how we should handle that aspect of it. I know I sent the initial quote off to Mike, and I should have looked at that before I came. We're talking like less than $1 or so per transaction of $100. I can't remember exactly what
I
it was.
don't recall getting that.
Yeah, it was been like 2 months ago.
Okay.
And I know we talked a little bit about it.
With our current system, how much per year is the district absorbing?
Well, I don't know off the top of my head, but there's months where we're paying $400 or so a month. So $300, $400, $450 a month.
Yeah, probably beginning of the school year, maybe closer to like trip times when people are paying for trips. So probably $2,000, $3,000 a year.
Oh, more than that, but yes.
Yeah,
If they're using a rev track system, just to see your trips alone, and you may collect 10 grand right there, and if you're paying a 3% fee or 2% fee, like most credit cards charge any private business, it's a substantial amount of money, in my opinion.
The fees have been running anywhere from about 2.7% to 3.75. Some of them depending on whether it's RevTrack or Square, whether it's coded in or not, and maybe some other things. It just seem like they vary from time to time.
Let me ask you this, because I kind of had mixed feelings on it, but not so much anymore. I guess part of my thought is, if I don't have kids in this district, I should not have to pay for the convenience of Galen to put money, on their kid's account. But at the same time, if I'm a parent and I don't want to pay that convenience fee, I could send a check to
You
school.
could send a check to the
So you have that option of not paying that convenience fee. So in my opinion, the convenience fee should be charged to the parent and not the district as a whole. Does that make sense? That's my opinion on it.
And that's why it's a convenience fee.
Yeah. If you're paying a bunch of money out for a senior trip or a larger amount, you might want to say, the convenience fee outweighs the convenience, so I'm going to write a check versus I'm putting $25 on my kid's lunch account.
But to
So-
your point, it's not like there's no other option.
Correct.
You've got options.
And that's essentially what the other government, like the county government, does the same thing. Instead of making all of the taxpayers pay for the convenience of being able to use the card, it's the card user being able, choosing to pay that fee, and they choose to pay a pretty hefty fee at times, because the other option is cash or check.
Yeah.
We're starting to see that through athletics. I know that Defiance, Fairview, Ayersville have all gone to the online ticketing system. As a conference, we made a decision last year that if you went that route, individual schools are supposed to absorb that. I know if you go to Fairview or Ayersville this year and buy tickets online, you're going to see that there's like a 32-cent charge that's being passed on to the consumer, and the schools are not absorbing that fee, which is a whole other conversation that we're having. But the funny part is, it's happening everywhere. They're pushing that cost off onto the consumer.
Which is, most school districts, actually, I don't know of any other school district. There probably are some that are absorbing it. Most of them are passing it on to the consumer, much like most other businesses and industries do.
The difference is, instead of going to Walmart, and paying the fee, you're paying it in the purchase. They build it into the purchase cost just like they do the electricity and everything else. I mean, we just don't have that option here. And I kind of agree with Craig. I mean, why pass it off to essentially all of our community to pay a portion of it when, it's an optional item?
And you don't have to pay it. Send a check.
Right.
There's other options.
Right. Thoughts?
Oh, I agree.
Is that enough direction for you?
I-
Are we
I-
all on the same page, I guess?
I think that gets me on the same page. Awesome. And I have 7 iPads in my office. I was waiting, there was a big update that came out today, and I wanted to really wait until that got installed so that there are some things that I can simplify for you. So I pretty much have them good and ready to go. And so we just need to talk about in-surfacing training for you guys just a little bit. I don't think it's going to take all too much. Keith is trying to train himself right now. And so it didn't hit me when I was talking to them Friday about it that I can only in-service 2 of you at a time. Otherwise, it's a meeting, I guess. So I guess kind of I'll put the ball into your court for when you would want to do that, and in the hopes of having them in your hands before the next board meeting, October, whenever.
What if we all just came in a half hour early for the next board meeting and you did us all at once then?
18th.
18th. I mean, I was honestly thinking that as well. You would have to, would it be like a special board meeting or
We would
something?
just
to
do a
be-
work session.
A work session,
Yeah,
probably.
We would just publicize it.
Essentially, just the meeting would be moved up a half an hour. So a work session is technically just essentially a regular meeting. There's regular meeting, special meeting, and emergency meetings, and those are the 3 only official meetings, but it's not uncommon to have what's called a work session.
Mhm.
Is 30 minutes enough?
I guess it's hard to gauge. I think it would be, because, I mean, there's not that much, and plus, I've kind of already done all the organization, I think. So really it'll be, okay, Anita's emailed you the agenda. How do you get that saved to the iPad so it's easy for you to notate and annotate on? She emailed the board minutes from the previous. Okay, how do we get that from your mail to a convenient place, which I already have that all organized on the iPads for you, and we just have to show you how to go from mail to those places, really. And then talk a little bit about pencil and some of the different things that you can do there. And then I still need to work with Mike. Was going to do that Friday, and then I got sidetracked or whatever to get the 5-year forecast. We're going to get that on there as well, the current one. And then that way you have access to that, searchable, so you can more easily, as opposed to a piece of paper, trying to find line items. So that'll be convenient. And plus all the board minutes and the agendas would be searchable as well.
Yes. And we can make it larger.
Yeah, and yes, if you need to make it larger, do that as well.
Craig, I think, if you want to, you are more than welcome, but if you don't want to and you want to stick with paper,
Yeah, I mean,
3 more.
I'd rather stay with
sessions.
paper, but you know what, that's, I'll do whatever is easiest for you, and I'll come in and next
See,
board meeting and I guess decide if,
Yeah, and if you don't want it, we'll find another home for it.
well, then you can,
Our next-
resell it as brand new then, so.
Well,
Or we can hold on until January because someone will replace
I know,
it.
that's what I was gonna say, that
Oh, that's
then they
true.
would get a
Yeah.
new one in January as opposed to,
I didn't realize you were leaving us in January.
Yep.
Yeah, so it almost might, of course, I don't know, new technology, you might like, oh, I'm going to get one of these now. Okay, and that is all I have.
So at the moment, we'll just plan on
Yeah, so
October
on the 18th,
18th? Okay.
and we'll plan at, what, 5 then?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeff.
Great news. Kirsten? Jeff?
You don't mind if I go first?
Nope.
I have a volleyball game tonight that I really like to go watch my senior daughter play, so I can get out here at a decent time. So, of course, the school year is off and running. It's hard to believe that we're already halfway through the fall sports season. GC golf tomorrow for boys and girls, and of course, sectional golf is next week already. So good luck to all our fall competitors, and keep on representing Hicksville. Some new school year updates. First off, and this is something maybe you've heard from some of the educators in the building or maybe in your family, OTES 2.0 is replacing OTES 1.0. The state, as we know, likes to make many adjustments, likes to keep us on our toes. So pretty much in a nutshell, the Ohio Teacher Evaluation System, that's what OTES stands for, and the 2.0, of course, is the newest version. The number one goal is, in the past, we have value-added scores. Those are our test scores that we receive every year on our report card, tells us how many kids are proficient. If you're a value-added teacher, those scores would make up 50% of your total observation or evaluation score each year. Well, not every teacher has value-added scores. So then you had other teachers, and I don't want to confuse everybody, but they created what's called SLOs. And then these SLOs were testing data points that they used that, again, for teachers that were not value-added to make up half their evaluation scores. The state has went away from that because the focus became too much on what score the student would get. And so the teachers, they felt, were either able to manipulate that, or on sometimes, unfortunately, they didn't have control over the way they should, especially the value-added scores, and it would negatively impact them. So under OTES 2.0, the total overall rating or summative rating a teacher will get will be based on their observations. Now, we will still have end-of-course tests, we will still have testing data points, but they're changing all the acronyms to HQSD, which stands for Highly Qualified Student Data, and the goal is for the teachers to implement these HQSD data points and assessments into their school year, take that information live as they're going throughout the year, and to make changes in their teaching strategies and lesson planning throughout the year instead of teaching to a test all year long, getting the test results, or having a testing in April, getting test results in September. Those kids are gone. You have a whole new group of kids. So again, I guess the whole point is to focus more on actually improving teaching in the classroom, and again, taking the data points that we get daily, weekly, or monthly, and improving instruction. So that's kind of the main focus on that piece. But again, all the report cards we get for our district are still based on those in-course tests, and which will then impact, of course, our report card. But again, so it's more about the teacher and how they're being evaluated more than anything. But again, we're still kind of doing the same thing, but again, different on the teacher side of things.
Jeff,
Yes.
HQSD stands for?
Highly qualified student data.
Okay, thank you.
And every teacher must have at least 2 data points at minimum. All right, so outside of that, go to the fun things. The staff tailgate party was last Friday. We had a great turnout. I think we had a little over 100 people attend from our staff and family, so that was awesome. Always a good time. Believe it or not, next Wednesday, September 29th, is the first quarter midterm. So again, having a senior, I think I'm paying more attention to that this year. Homecoming is coming around the corner. I want to congratulate our homecoming court. Festivities will be back to normal this year. Our goal is to have a parade that will begin at 5:45 p.m. on Friday, October 1st. As usual, we'll be at the fairgrounds, the north entrance. So at 5:45, the parade will travel up North Maple Street. They will then make their way down West Side Street, Bryant Street, and of course head north on Bryant Street to the park. All floats and parade participants will need to meet at the fairgrounds no later than 5 p.m. on October 1st. A lot of information has gone out today, and of course last week. I know we always have a great turnout from our local businesses and community members, and of course it's amazing. Sometimes I think we have more people in the parade than standing along watching the parade, because we try to recognize all our mini-H's football and our mini-H's volleyball and all those other groups that are within
down to testing blueprints, which pretty much break down like your depth of knowledge questions, how the tests are established and set up, and kind of gives us an opportunity to really break down the data, because that's the hard part of this is, having the opportunity to break down the data and have someone there to do invest time and effort into that. Fields of Faith event will take place on Wednesday, October 13th at 7 p.m. at Hicksville. When it comes to COVID and contact tracing, if anyone has any questions on that piece, I think overall things have gone pretty well here at the high school so far, knock on wood. And of course, Mr. Countryman, I wasn't sure, but the athletic complex review, do you want me to pass this out and share it?
Yes.
Is that okay?
I had asked Jeff to spearhead that because he has more time than me.
Actually, I'm working on my superintendent license, as you guys know, and one of my courses this semester is the internship piece. So I'm working with Mr. Countryman here at Hicksville, of course, and then Steve Arnold at Fairview. And a lot of things that I work on are more district-based. So Mr. Countryman, last week when we sat down and met, he gave me my first objective. So I took advantage of that opportunity. And I don't think we need to read through this verbatim, but I do want to state that there's some key highlights here that I want you to review, and you can reach out to me at any time. First off, I highlighted one item on my part under the community access. I am going to put 18 years of age. I want you to know, reviewing other districts that have athletic complexes, they typically have their age of 21, just FYI on that, so it's something we may want to consider before we adopt this. Outside of that, under the membership piece, we're trying to provide this first page, front and back, is what the member will do to become eligible to participate in the athletic complex. And again, the goal is this. We want taxpayers of Hicksville, okay, and graduates of Hicksville to have access to the athletic complex. And we have to provide certain criteria of that. Now, their taxpayers are getting paid for this. We want them to use this. But at the same time, there's always going to be additional costs when it comes to like the key fobs and maintenance and upkeep of those tracking systems that we have in the district. And that's where we think, again, we talk about passing the buck onto our taxpayers. We feel that, if my family, if I'm a member of Hicksville, graduate of Hicksville, and I want to be a member of this, I purchase my membership and I get a key fob. And then my wife, Jamie, wants a key fob. We're going to pay for her key fob. If I lose my key fob, I should buy my own. If she destroys her key fob because the dog ate it, she should buy her own. That's the only cost we're talking about being involved in this, is pretty much that key fob piece. What's nice about this and talking to their schools is, once you start your membership here, it's a one-year membership, okay? And then there's a deactivation that occurs on August 1st, okay? Now, when your key fob is deactivated, there is no cost in reactivation. What it is we just want you to update your information, your contact information, your address. We want to make sure you're still a resident of Hicksville or still want to have this, okay? So at that point, you can either fill out the Google form and, of course, reestablish or reactivate it for free at no cost, or you can turn in your key fob and state that you no longer want that. Use of the facility, again, I'm just trying to get the highlights of this. First statement, the athletic facility will be available for member use based on availability. Please refer to the athletic complex schedule on the school website. That's one thing we're going to work on. We need to communicate to our constituents and stuff of when we're going to be available, because it's crazy here. In certain seasons, it may not be as much as we want it to be, but at other points of the year, for example, the summer, I don't want that building sitting there closed. I mean, I'm a taxpayer too, keep that in mind. And to me, it does us no good to say whether you're going to use it from 5 to 7 or 7 to 1. If in the summer, if it's not being used by our sports teams and our kids, I think it should be available. Again, basketball courts and track, not the waiver room, again, basketball courts and track, what we're referring to, should be available for everyone to use. So I think we're going to have to create a live schedule that someone's got to maintain and keep up to date for people to have access to. Already covered that piece. I know there's information in here pertaining to, misuse of equipment, problems on the facility, contacting Mr. Bassett, Eric Bassett, for that piece. If you flip the page, I mean, I'm not going to read through the warning of risk or the release from liability, but that pretty much is the accountability side of things. And if you move halfway down the page, you can see where this is the important piece of collecting data for us. Is, you're going to have your member name, contact information, and email. And the reason we're collecting the cell number and email is my goal, and I know Jeff Schaefer just left, I haven't spoken about this yet. Once we have all our members, the goal is that once we get to like maybe the second week of July, we'll do an instant alert to all the members so we can create groups. So anyone who has a key fob here will receive an instant alert and an email stating, it's that time of year again, if you'd like to renew your membership, please contact the school and update your information. And they will be able to update that information. So we want to keep it as simple and take away a lot of work from everyone here at the building, you know. Simple is good. Second piece, again, as you can see, it says graduate of HHS, yes or no in year, because again, you could have someone like, say, for example, Eric Bassett, you graduated from Hicksville, correct? Yeah. All right. I'm not sure, probably Brian. Where do you live? Antwerp. You live in Antwerp. So technically, Brian can be a member of this because he's a graduate of Hicksville 2000? 99. Okay. So I'm trying my best, man. So in 1999, he graduated from Hicksville, but he lives in Antwerp. So he is not a resident of Hicksville, but he's a graduate of Hicksville. So he has the opportunity to use the facility the same way. Again, it shows spouse, and the reason we put spouse is we're not just going to put in, significant other or anything, because I'm sorry, I don't keep track of who's dating who and who's living in that beach house, and that may not be politically correct, I apologize, but I don't want to deal with the transient people coming in, out, and going. So we feel it's very important that we put spouse there, and then of course their contact number and email, because they should receive the same information. And then we put students on here, which is a new addition. We feel that if you have students that are tied to that key fob and you, that we know who they are, okay? Because those chances are, if I bring my kids up here and they each bring a friend, I'm accountable for everybody who came with me, okay? But my kids, they are another reason why we're a part here, because I know we have people that live out of the district, okay? We'll open enroll, right? Open enroll. Their kids attend the school district, so you're a graduate from here, let's say, okay? Let's say that, you don't live here, but your kids attend here. That's important information. That's why you qualify to use that facility too. So that's why we want to collect all that information to make it relevant to everyone that's involved in it. And then the back page that everyone has there. And again, this is not perfect, I'm sure, but this is important because there's a lot of work to be involved in laying the groundwork to make this happen. But tracking of new memberships, our goal is that potential members must contact the central office to start the process. Membership form will be provided by the central office. Calls for key fobs will be collected. Once that membership form and key fob money is collected, the central office will slide 2 key fobs over. You have 72 hours. We tell them to wait 72 hours until they're activated. That gives our director of plan 72 hours to get those activated, which is plenty of time. And I spoke to Mr. Bassett about that. He says that's good. That'd be Eric Bassett, not Brian. I apologize, Brian. To take care of that piece. Once that 72 hours is up, again, full activation, full access. Renewal of membership, we talked about that already. Non-renewal membership, again, no one has to come in here and say they want to renew it. The goal is that they return the key fob. We can usually reuse it. We can reassign them. So it would be great if people would return them. But again, that's why they pay for them up front. And then, of course, the facility calendar availability. Building use will be organized by Director of Plan Ops. Calendar for athletic complex availability should be accessible on our website, because I know for a fact that if it's a Tuesday at 6:30 and with my kids, and I check that calendar, I can see that we've got mini aces volleyball going on with Amanda Ross, and she has 30 little girls in there play volleyball. It's not available for me to do that, but if I wanted to walk the track, which I'm not much of a walker, I can still do that potentially. Another big thing, talking to Mr. Bassett, understanding why, and I need to check with Mr. Room on this tomorrow, but, athletic complex is open on Sunday for regular individual use. We think that's okay, all right, because we have camera systems, the key fobs, accountability. It's okay to come in and shoot baskets, walk the track, things like that. What Mr. Bassett wants to avoid is rental purposes, just in case we get to that piece where we start renting it out, because if we rent it out, now it becomes, he needs to have staff in here. He doesn't want to rent it out. He doesn't want to have to assign staff to come in, which is a burden on him, and of course the people that work in his department. And then also, we want to talk about inclement weather, because at any point, it doesn't matter if it's a Tuesday night, a Friday afternoon during the school year, or in the summer, whatever. If there's inclement weather, we need to use our digital board out front, maybe our social media to state that that facility is closed, because anytime there's inclement weather, there could be 1 inch of snow on the ground or 6 inches of snow. And if, Mr. Iden and his family show up and they're walking up the sidewalk and it's not shoveled and it's icy and he slips and falls and hurts his back, we're accountable for that or liable for that. So again, we need to make sure we communicate that piece to support that also, so he doesn't have to come in and plow on a Sunday night or something like that. He will deactivate all the key fob system. Okay, so we're trying to put in, be proactive and not allowing people to, I want to say, override what we're trying to accomplish here. But, we want to make sure that we are providing, again, every opportunity possible to use that building and keeping it open as much as possible. But at the same time, the liability issue is still on us. We want to make sure that, again, we respect Mr. Eric Bassett, his staff, taxpayers, all of our time and stuff. So I think we have a good plan started. I will say that the easiest thing probably to start with will be having hard copy forms to fill out for membership, but I'm trying to develop a Google form system where people can come in, scan like a barcode, they can populate on their phone, they can fill that in, and hit submit, and it goes right to Anita, because I don't want every single person to walk in and fill this out, and then hand it to Anita, she does the exact same thing by putting the data in. If we can eliminate that double-step process, we're going to try to do that, but it's also a learning curve on Anita's part and our part, so we're working towards making it as streamlined as possible. Any questions?
Yeah. I'm sure you knew I was going to bring this up, but I want to, I guess, express my objection to the public using the weight room. I called around. We all have the same insurance, so when we say liability is an issue, every other school is doing it. And every school that I call that has any type of weight room, all allow the public to use it. Some places, unfettered access, you go whenever you want. Like Tenora, I think they do like a couple hours in the evening, several days a week.
Has someone hired, I know that, right? They have someone that monitors that.
They monitor stuff, just do the cameras. And, the public paid for this. Our public pays 1.5%, taxes here. And without them, we wouldn't have this. I think that it should be open to the public to use.
Who else did you call me and ask? I'm not trying to be confrontational.
Lincolnville, Tenora, Montpelier.
Did Montpelier have weight rooms? They didn't have weight room.
Let me back. I think it was Montpelier. There was 5 different ones that I talked to, and every one of them. Now, they also said that the amount of usage was not that high. It started off really high, and then it kind of dropped back off. Some of them have them closed right now because of COVID. But again, like Lincolnview, they don't lock a door 24/7. You can come in whenever you want. Now, I'm not supportive of that. What I am supportive of is setting a time frame that, whether it be 7 to 9 in the evenings, something where it says, okay, you know what, the weight room is open. And to me, it's only fair. Again, wasn't the public, we wouldn't have it. So
My only discussion with that, and I'm sorry, Eric, I see your set every day, I apologize.
To argue with you. My only concern is I agree that, I'm a taxpayer too, and I think it's awesome. But the one thing about Lincoln, Evergreen, and Sonora, they don't have a community. Okay, they're very rural districts, widespread, 120 miles. Okay, they don't have a town that has willpower fitness and has the health clinic that people pay for memberships. Now we're going to be in direct conflict with local businesses that are paying. And that's kind of what I look at, because those schools have all the same thing, but they don't have competition. They don't have a place for those people to go and utilize those facilities. But it's just, I'm middle management. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it should be for our kids.
and I hear you. And I back, because every time we talk about this, we talk about the hospital, we talk about willpower fitness, and I say the exact same thing, and I'll say it again. But I talked to the hospital, their concern was the morning group. They didn't want to lose the morning group of people that they have. They're like, evening, we don't care. Now, willpower fitness, I think there's room because they do things that we wouldn't have. We're not going to have aerobics, we're not going to have a lot of other things. But at the same time, I think our loyalty needs to be to the public and not one specific business. That's my concern. So, if my loyalty lies with the public, the one that's giving us the money, and I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, I'm the only one talking here, but.
What do you want to interrupt you? I'm kind of in between. I'm not on either side yet. I'm kind of more of the let's open it to the public first, the way we have it set, and see how that goes, and then reassess in 6 months, 12 months, and say, okay, how is this working? How is it going? Are things working well? Do we want to open? I'm not saying that we shouldn't open. I'm just being a wait and see approach.
And I think that people that are using willpower and people that are using the health bit are going to continue to use willpower and the health bit. This would be more open to people that, for one reason or another, do not use one of those two places. I don't see it taking anything from, and Craig made a pretty good point, what Amanda does up there is something that we're not going to be able to offer out here with our equipment.
I've had 3 members that I know, guys that are owners at Willpower, that all want to come and come out here, that all just lift weights. And that's my concern, like I said, is that to do that.
I certainly don't want to see them go out of business. That's definitely not
I
what
think
my...
that's the one population that we would take from them. I agree with Craig, that morning group that's up there at 5 a.m. waiting for CMH to open their doors, and they stay until 9 and then go have coffee uptown. They're not going to come up here, but it's not going to be the same kind of crowd, and those are generally your cardio equipment type, which we don't offer, so it's just walking. So I don't see those people. I think it's going to be that small weightlifting group.
Small male weightlifting group.
Yes.
Because I think that the females that use, both my daughters do, that use Amanda's will stay using Amanda's equipment. The one daughter does it here and then goes over there to lift weights because she's insane. But I'm saying she just really likes lifting weights. So I don't know. I've always been kind of on the side of where Craig's coming from. The community builds it, and other communities make it work, and we should be able to make it work too. But I did like Jen's idea, and I hadn't thought of this before. Let's see how we do with the walking, with the basketball, and see how things pan out. Because if they can be responsible with basketball and the track, then maybe we can let them with more dangerous weight.
I think that's, I'd like to start now, taking your point, I mean, that would be, I think it's acceptable to say, let's see how it goes. As long as, I guess we have a commitment from everybody, so I won't be here at that time to say, we will have this discussion again, a year from now.
We're more than welcome to
So,
come to our meetings and speak at the end and
Okay.
ask us when.
okay, I will do that.
Third Monday at 5. Yes.
Well, you'll be here for November.
John, I did want to say, good job with this, just looking it over. You guys addressed things that I hadn't really even thought of, and I think what you have set up here sounds really good. Obviously, we're not reading everything word to word, and I think this is a really good start. And good job.
You be careful, I can skedaddle, take a beer for
We'll wait till you leave.
Thank you.
But I'll give you this.
JP just lost their first step.
Awesome.
You got plenty of time, I think. Next. Just a couple of English teachers.
I actually have some notes from Mike, as well as Mike, so I'll go ahead and start with the middle school news. I guess just going back from the OTES 2.0, Mike wanted to let you guys know that also a part of the teacher evaluation plan is professional growth plans, and I think the emphasis on this, which is a little bit different from the 1.0, is us actually meeting with the teachers and developing those goals. And so he's actually started that process this week, and he plans to check back with his teachers during their conference periods throughout the year. Mrs. Chamberlain has been completing her guidance visits for the month. She will have reached all of the middle school students by tomorrow. This month, her main goal has been to teach the students that everyone needs to be treated with respect. We can disagree with someone's opinion, but still have respect about that with that person and their choices. And then lastly, he has Mrs. Andrea Deal serving our community class, has been working on their first project, working with other teachers such as Mr. Farrell and Mr. Perna. They're building a little free library that will be stationed on the corner of Hicksville Family Eye Care. So a huge thanks to Dr. Andrew Hoffman for working with Mrs. Deal's class and allowing them to use that location. He would also like to thank Betty Guilford for funding the project. So, on the elementary side, Growing God's Way starts next Monday. It will be from 2:50 to 4 o'clock p.m. Currently, we have 49 students registered. So that makes it about 9 to 13 students per grade band. And that's grades 1st through 4th. And then kindergarten will be invited to start November 1st. So we'll open up that invitation back again. I think we have 12 kiddos that need transportation, and Beth Mendez has donated her time to drive those students home. And so just a huge thank you to the teachers and the aides and the volunteers who are stepping up to make this program a success for our kids. Third grade guarantee. Each year we administer diagnostics to the students in grades kindergarten through 3rd. We try to identify those students that might be at risk, and we label them as not on track. We put them on a RIMP, which is a reading improvement plan, and then we provide intervention services for those kiddos. And then their progress monitored weekly, and we're going to start those services next week because our fall 3rd grade air test is October 18th and 19th. We talked about this last year, having a sub shortage. We still have a sub shortage, but we're really seeing it with our paras and our aides. When an aide position is not covered, many times we have to cover that from within, which we're paying then a teacher to use their conference time to teach it, or I'm pulling intervention services to get that covered. Because a lot of times it's like for preschool, which will be, they're out of compliance if we don't provide somebody in there. And right now, the really only person that's been picking them up is Gail Countryman, so thank you, Gail. But other than that, we've had to pay people within. And so I guess I'm coming to you tonight to see if we could ever consider maybe just raising our sub-pay for paras and aides, because right now it's currently only at $9 an hour. And they typically do not get filled for that.
So we raised the substitute rate a few years ago because I think it was, what is it, 120
It's
a day?
100 now.
It's 100?
It was $75 or $80, so we raised it to 100. I think right now a para might get paid $55, and so
That's not acceptable.
And just so you know, I did do some checking with the other superintendents in the county, and none of them are that low, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the market? What's the
my
market
daughter
price
makes
for
more
that?
at tropical smoothie.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure most fast
More
food
at McDonald's than
places
you would.
offer.
doing
Well,
that.
I think kind of what Kirsten's thinking too is that more people would be willing to pick it up, a teacher would be willing to pick it up if they're going to make the same amount as they would if they were teaching. You know what I'm saying?
You mean
'Cause-
that you're saying put the substitute rate?
Well,
the
if they
same?
could teach in a classroom for $100, why would they want to go to the preschool
Yeah, I mean,
and
the
sub
library.
there for $54?
Yes.
Now, would we end up paying them more than we're paying our actual preschool teachers?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. No, because the starting pay for those employees are $14 an hour, I think, something like that, for an aide. I believe it's $14 an hour, right around, somewhere around there.
So is that what your suggestion is to raise them to the
Not
exact
to-
same?
Not
or-
to 14, but to get it maybe
Comparable.
close to what it would be for like a teacher, for example, and then the teachers would be more apt to pick it up and sub in there. Because there's days that there's teachers that don't sub, but they don't pick up that either, because they're not going to come for $54.
So generally speaking, when we're looking at the para and aides, is it, and this is per hour, I mean, are they here all day? So it would be, okay.
And that would be like the MD unit as well. There's subs in there occasionally that we need
And
to
I can
get.
tell you, like in the MD unit right now, the ESC is actually paying, because we've had somebody out on maternity leave this whole time, and they have not had a sub in there, which they're out of compliance. I think they've had a sub 3 days this whole school year, and the ESC has finally come through and said, we'll pay it as a teacher pay, just to get somebody up there, so we're back into compliance. So, I mean, nobody is picking these up. So we've had, we've had an aide that's been out for 2 weeks sick.
So what's comparable teacher rate? You said not the 14.
Well, I think just raise the hourly rate enough that it would get it right there, like what it would be for a teacher pay, for example. So,
I mean, are you
Teacher
recommending
sub.
teacher sub.
$80 a day, $100 a day, 90?
Yeah, close to
What-
the $100 a day. Then teachers would be more apt to take it, I think is what Kirsten's getting at, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it'd be
I'm
a
okay
little
with
over,
that.
it'd be a little over, what?
Well, right now, if you
11?
think about what a teacher makes on a conference period, that's what we're paying for 7 periods a day, just to get it covered, if a teacher can cover it from within. Which that's a lot more than $80 to $100.
Be around $12 an hour.
Okay, I was, so we're currently paying essentially a conference period, but we're paying somebody with benefits and all of that essentially versus.
Paras don't have conference.
No.
Oh.
I'm talking about our teachers
No.
who pick up.
Right. So it's encumbered labor versus unencumbered labor.
And so, okay. Yeah, I'm Mike, financial Mike, any words?
Well, I guess we
It's going
have
to
to
be cheaper for
decide
you
on.
in the long run.
Well, yeah, decide on what a reasonable rate is, and obviously we need to fill these positions. So,
Do you know what they were paying at Van Wert before you left for that?
no, I don't remember.
And Keith, do you know anything about what they're paying at the other schools?
In talking to the other people that I spoke with, it ranged anywhere from $75 to the $100.
$100. So is there a reason they shouldn't be paid the same amount of money as a regular sub? Because they're
What's
taking.
the educational requirements? Because to be a sub, you have to have a bachelor's degree, correct?
Not anymore, I don't think.
I thought you had
Didn't
a
that
bachelor's
change or
degree.
You,
not?
you did until last year with the
I think it
SARS.
changed, didn't
When I
it?
applied, you had
Yeah.
to, but that was 17 years ago.
But we're still not having people knock down
The doors for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that $100 is not very much in and of itself.
So I guess I don't see what the problem would be if just making a sub pay.
It
Right?
would make life a lot easier.
And not differentiate between an aide and a teacher sub.
I think especially during COVID time. I mean, just since they've kind of changed the rules for teacher subs.
What are your thoughts, Keith?
Well, we're short bus drivers too.
Probably for similar reasons.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
have a feeling we'll probably
I
be
drove a
having
bus
those
today,
easier to
but
fill.
I mean, that would, simplistically, that would make it easier for,
And reasonable, right? I mean,
let me do some more checking with other schools in the area, but I would lean towards doing what you just mentioned.
okay.
Just
Why don't
make
you
it,
just bring your recommendation to the next meeting and we'll
okay. Okay.
vote on it.
Do we need to do it sooner so that way we can potentially get somebody sooner?
That's your call.
Who makes the calls to bring the subs in here?
It just goes on.
It's automated.
I mean, I know it's automated, but
I mean, just like this week, most of last week, we didn't have a Sunday school.
Who does
study
it?
hall monitor.
Who does it fall on if it doesn't get filled? Is what I guess. I'm sorry, I didn't ask that correctly.
Well, sometimes then I have to pull intervention. I have to pull tutoring students to get that covered, or myself, or Jeff's in here, or we're paying a teacher $25 to sit in at a study hall or to be at
Which
preschool.
is more than
Which,
just,
yeah.
if you just pay a sub.
Mm-hmm. By quite a
I think
bit.
even at $100, you'd be coming out to the good. Just
I mean, do you want a motion tonight to do it?
Can we do?
Or do you want to wait? I mean,
No,
I would like as soon as possible because I know what sub shortages.
yeah, it's a need, an
Right.
immediate need, I would say.
I agree, and it's not going to.
I mean, to tell you the
Get better.
truth, we only have 4 to 5 people that teacher sub here anyway. So then when you're looking at a pair.
And then they
or
get
aide, I
tired
mean,
because they
it's-
don't have their plan period and yeah.
So.
It is possible we could go back with it, prorate it back, or approve it at the next meeting with the date of whenever we need it.
Is it an issue to vote for it tonight, though, and just make it a
Well,
done
we
deal?
can do it tonight if we're ready.
Can we, I think if we just make it, state it as making it the same as the sub-pay.
That all sub-pay is sub-pay regardless of whether it's classified or
As
certified?
long as it's a full day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. Mike, we'll give you a minute to type that up. Anything else that you have?
No, but thank you.
You're saving the best for last.
How do you want that written, Keith? Full day, or, I mean?
For a full day, the full 8-hour day would be the standard sub rate across the board for teacher, paraprofessional, anyone within the classroom like that, right?
So if they're, let's say they work a half a day, we just take that rate?
I think what Robin does then is, if it's put in for a certain number of hours, then she prorates it down to the hour.
So then so you're saying about 12 an hour?
Yeah, for example, if somebody did only an hour and a half or 3.5 hours, they'd be paid for 3.5 hours. So they take the 100, divide it by
Well, technically,
8, and it comes to $12.50 an hour. So you can do the math.
because it's 7 hours.
And with the new Red Rover system that we have, although I haven't got that all dialed in yet either, but that will actually calculate that all out to the hour, to the minute.
And we're looking more at $14 an hour if you think about it, because they'll only be in for the 7-hour day, right? They're not expected to come in at,
No, it's 7.5, isn't it? They're from 7:45 to 3:15. Like,
So you're probably more like that.
yeah, because they help with dismissal at the end with some of the students and stuff like
okay,
that
so
too.
7.5 hours.
$13.30.
You almost, yeah. I was doing mental math, but thank you.
That's why I have this.
Yeah. As does every other child in this world, apparently. They cannot do math in their heads. And I was thinking of it as 7 hours rather than 7.5.
So I'd like to take this opportunity to say that I made my third grader go over the treasurer's report with me and tell me the tens and the thousands, and how do you actually say that number there? Because they're working on that in school, so put it to real life. And
Mrs.
can we
President?
have a motion for,
Well, I've got a motion to increase parapro rate to $100 per day effective September 20th, 2021.
that work? So I needed,
You gonna add that down the line, or do you want to do it now, or what's your thoughts?
let's
Doesn't
do it
matter to
now.
me, we can do it right now.
Where he's,
I'll move.
Craig,
I'll second.
Craig and Galen. Roll call when you're ready.
Mr. Iden?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
And Mrs. Carrier?
Yes, motion passes 4-1 absent. I do not have a four-county Career Center report today, so we'll move on to Keith.
Okay, I have several items, but it won't be as long as you think. So the new building, there's still some touch-ups that are getting done out there, obviously. We've mentioned some of those tonight, but like the cameras still aren't fine-tuned. You mentioned that the fob system's not working. We know about all those, so that's all on the punch list to get done. The grass is coming in really great, which we just need some rain. The new drive has been great. We have not heard any complaints as far as traffic, and it seems to be helping both in the morning and the afternoon. Would you agree, Kirsten?
I've gotten positive feedback on that.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Nothing
Definitely.
Good.
bad. So,
We did offer a position you'll see later tonight to approve Melissa Crawford as Ruth Ann's replacement. Ruth Ann certainly, is going to be missed, and she's leaving November 1st, retiring, and tough lady to replace. She's done a lot for us here. So the administrative team sat in with me on those interviews, and it was a tough decision. All of them had something good to offer, but in the end, we chose Melissa Crawford to be Ruth Ann's replacement. So she will be working along with Ruth Ann, but her actual contract, and Mike, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but her actual contract won't start this year till November 1st. And prior to that, anytime she works, we'll pay her an hourly rate based on that, what that would be, right?
No, we hadn't talked about it, so.
Yeah, but doesn't that make sense?
Mhm.
Because she won't be working every day with Ruth Ann, and there's actually a workshop coming up in Columbus that I want her to go to too, that talks about all the stuff you would need to know as a cafeteria manager. So I think it's important for her to go to that. So I suggested to her that we just pay her like an hourly rate based on whatever that contract salaried amount is that we agreed upon. And for the hours she works between now and November 1st, and then her contract would start November 1st, obviously prorated, because typically it would start August 1st. So they'll prorate that out. We, as I mentioned earlier, could use bus drivers. I don't know what we do without Eric and John. They sub a lot. And without them, we'd really be in trouble. So I've driven the bus several times already this year myself, in the afternoon and morning. And if they see me driving, it's because there's absolutely no one else. So we could use some subs. And, really, just a plug for people is, it would be a perfect job for like a farmer or somebody that has a dairy farm, for example. They could come in, drive the bus in the morning, then do their stuff that they need to do in the afternoon on their farm, farming or whatever, and then come back and drive the afternoon route. And it would be some extra cash for them, and possibly some opportunity for some insurance that might be beneficial for them too. So keep that in mind. If there's somebody out there, we could surely use you. Even as a substitute, it would be great just to have people so that Eric and John and I wouldn't have to do it as much. The administrative team, Jeff Schaefer and Matt and I all sat down and reviewed the website. We had that on my list anyhow, but then when you emailed me the other day about one of the dates being wrong on the website, we actually scheduled the date. I already had it scheduled because it was on my to-do list. We sat and went through each link on the website and tried to fine-tune things that won't be affected by a date from year to year. And there's still going to be some things like, when somebody retires, we'll have to go in there and take them out and put the new people in. But we tried to clean that all up, Jen.
I don't even remember what I sent you a message
there
about.
was a date that was wrong in there, and if you don't go in and change it, then it just gets farther and farther down. So let's see. Eric, John, and I recently met with a playground representative. It was the same lady that helped design the playground here for this building back 11, 12 years ago. And I wanted to meet with her for a couple reasons. The students on the playground wait a long time. The most popular item out there are the swings. They all want the swings, and so there's lines for the swings. And being the kid that I am, and always trying to look out for them, I met with her because I wanted to see if it was possible to add some swings in there and what it would cost. Well, in looking at it, meeting the requirements, you have to have so much space around it, and it has to be on some kind of a surface. It can't be grass. You have to have either asphalt or not asphalt, but mulch, that kind of stuff. So, but she had a great option, and I wanted to share that with you. They have this new swing out now that will accommodate 2 people at the same time. Looks like this. And so it's kind of like a teeter-totter type effect, and 2 kids would face each other. If there's only one on it, that's fine too, but 2 could sit on it, and they'd both be swinging at the same time, and it would accommodate double kids. So she gave me a price on that, and I want to get a couple. I want to get a couple ordered for each playground, and they can easily be swapped out. Eric can do that. Eric and John, they'll take the single swing down, they'll hang this up, and then it accommodates 2 kids, and we'll see how that works. See if the kids like it, and it'll accommodate more kids at once. The other thing that I wanted to meet with her on is I wanted her to, outside the preschool, give me some kind of a price if we wanted to put a playground in there. And I've already met with some people at the ESC, and we're all scouring and looking for grants to fund it. So I don't have an idea of what the cost would be yet, but playgrounds aren't cheap. And so I want to see what the price is, and then find the funding somewhere through some type of grant opportunity. And so I'll keep you posted on that. But the other swings, we're just going to purchase a couple of them, 4 of them actually, 2 for each playground, and get those installed. But then the playground will be somehow I'll have to find the funding through grants. The other thing I wanted to touch base with you on is I mentioned the grass. We probably doubled the amount of grass that we're going to be mowing now. And Eric and John had come to me, and they wanted to know my thoughts on a new mower, because the ones we have have lots of hours on them. There's still life left in them, and we're not planning on getting rid of them. What they would like to do is get a new mower with a wider deck, 72 inches, and they would leave that mower and one of the other ones here on this property, and then the other mower would go down to the football field and stay there for those properties down there, because there's a lot down there that they mow as well. And they wanted me to get your thoughts on that. At the end of the season, prices are better at this time of year than they would be in the spring, but it's still a lot of money. So we'd be looking at around $17,000 for a new mower with a 72-inch deck. And I spoke with Mike about the money into that, and we feel we could take that out of our permanent improvement money and cover that cost there. So just wanted to kind of get your feel on that.
And I take it Eric's done his research?
Yeah. We get everything at Bureau. He gets stuff at Bureau, and they're really good about it. And Eric and John are great at the maintenance of those machines too. I mean, sometimes there's things that they can't fix, but they've got a great relationship with Bureau over there, and so.
Yeah, 60 inches is kind of small. I mean, I assume that's what they got right now, 60.
Yeah, and they have prices for both 60 and a 72, and I think it was, what we look at, Mike, was like $300.
Yeah, not very much.
Yeah,
More for the 72 inch.
72, but.
So if you're okay with that, I mean, technically, I think in the board, we were talking about that the other day, Mike and I, and I talked to you guys that having something approved has to be anything over 15,000 has to be approved by you guys. But in the board minutes, it actually says 20.
I thought it was, yeah.
Policy, yeah.
Yeah.
Policy. It says 20. So if you're good with it, we won't wait till the next meeting to have that approved, but we'll put that on for the next meeting if that's.
So right now, when they're mowing like the practice field stuff, are they trailering the back and forth?
Yes.
Let me ask you this. I mean, would they want something bigger than a 72? Because if you're mowing that football field over there, the practice field and.
Well, Mike had mentioned the ones that you pull behind the
Gang
actual.
mower.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Gang mowers?
It's kind of off to the side there.
Well, like you would see on a golf course or something.
Yeah. And
because I can't imagine the time that they spend on all the mowing. And
Yeah, those
They're
really,
doing
it wouldn't be
themselves, right?
conducive too much for here because of everything you'd have to go around.
Yeah, no, that I get that you wouldn't want something big, but
So they weren't, I mentioned to them about that and they didn't really like that idea.
Oh, okay.
So-
I'd get the biggest one you could do in both places. That way, if one went down, you'd have a backup.
I'm good with it.
Okay. Okay. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that Nathan Farrell and the ESC, Nathan has been applying for several years for the 21st Century Grant along with the ESC, and he finally got it, and he's really excited about it. So that grant will be for approximately $200,000 a year for 5 years, renewable for 5 years. So it'd be $200,000 a year for each year. So big shout out to Nathan and
Wow,
the ESC for
that's
getting
awesome.
that.
That is awesome.
That program will begin on Monday, October 18th, and there's be a before-school program that will run from Monday through Friday from 7 to 8 in the morning. And then the after-school portion will run Monday through Thursday from 3 to 5:30 in the evening. Students will receive academic support along with a variety of extended enrichment and social opportunities. So it's a great opportunity for our kids, and
What grades and who will that be open to?
3 through 6.
3 through 6.
He's really going to focus on grades 3 through 4.
So that's awesome news. That's like $1 million almost.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
awesome.
Transportation will be provided
Mhm.
to students that need it.
And the cost covered from the grant.
Yep.
That's awesome.
It's all fully funded through the grant, so
That's outstanding.
yeah, it is, that's awesome.
Yeah.
that's all I have.
So I talked to Jeff Hott already, but my little kiddo is in the cross-country program down in the park. And I was down there Wednesday, and I was like, oh, I'm going to walk out and see the baseball fields. Wow, those stands look great. The fencing looks great. They did a great job. I
And
noticed
you
that I
no longer have to have
specifically...
a panic attack about a kid falling off the back or side
Right,
of
or
those.
through, yeah. So,
Yes.
yeah, it looks really good. They did a good job down there. And Jeff said they have a little bit more touching up and some stuff to do, but they
Once,
look great.
once they do, Jeff ought to go down and take some pictures of that, and you guys should make an announcement, because I think that's big. That's a big
Yeah.
deal.
By the way, I know Galen mentioned it, but yeah, I've heard a lot of positive remarks on the road. I was in Meyer the other day, and I had a neighbor hit me up, and they're like, hey, I thought that road wasn't going to be used for other traffic other than school related. And they're like, Sunday afternoon, boats going down the road. We talked about the speed bumps. And we might want to consider doing, I know Jen had brought up there was some that we had seen somewhere where, they were removable.
Removable.
So you
Right.
can take them off,
during the winter.
for snow plowing, but, I mean, that's the Hicksville bypass. I mean,
Yeah,
it's-
I think we should give it a little more time, and Craig, honestly, I'm okay with people if they want to go through there like that. I don't have a problem with that. We're not going to sit out there and monitor that. It was the semis is what I wanted to avoid having, and a semi is not going to get through there now because of that arch.
Well,
So-
and this is my opinion, but Saturdays, Sundays, I would agree.
Yeah.
But during school times, people going through there, I think that would be the time that I would
Yeah,
want to see it
and
be
I mean-
eliminated as much as we could.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't sit out there and watch that, but, we are outside there, looking at different times and stuff. And I've not noticed it so much during the day, but I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are people that cut through there, so. Yeah, but semis aren't.
Well, and you're right, that was the main thing, we didn't want the road turnaround.
Right. And just so you know, though, that road is designed just like the main drive out here. It has the base that would accommodate that kind of traffic, so it should be fine.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. So moving on to minutes and financials, I need a motion.
I'll move.
I'm going to go with
Second. How about that?
Steph and Galen, thank you. Minutes from the regular board meeting on June 28th, 2021. The treasurer's consent agenda, cash reconciliation as of August 31st, 21. Financial statements for August 21. Approve amended official certificate of estimated resources for fiscal year 2022 as presented. Total general resources of $105,794.93. And total resources for all funds of $922,770.74. Approve fiscal year 2022 permanent appropriations as presented. Total general fund appropriations of $658,867.51. And total.
Jen, pardon
what?
me, I hate to interrupt you, but our numbers aren't lining up.
I think you got the wrong page.
Did
You have the new one?
Did they change
This
that?
is the one that was waiting for me when
I thought that just the addendum was changed.
It was flopping all over the place this morning, so.
Okay,
Yeah, it should be.
I'll just steal Minda's. Just Minda's hold.
Sorry.
Just kidding. Starting again.
Start with C.
Galen, okay. Approve amended official certificate estimated resources for, and thank you, by the way, for stopping me before I got totally done. For fiscal year 22 as presented, and total general fund resources of $15,404,016.83, and total resources of all funds of $21,063,574.68. Approve fiscal year 22 permanent appropriations as presented. Total general fund appropriations of $11,195,545.99, and total appropriations for all funds of $14,133,429.36. Approve memorandum of agreement for deposit of public funds with the Hicksville Bank for a 5-year period of September 14th, 21 through September 13th, 2026, as presented. Do you want to add anything to those, Mike?
I don't have anything to add, but if you got any questions. You got a question in the back of the room?
Yeah, can I make a comment or whatever?
Well, I don't know if you want to wait for the public portion or.
Okay, that's fine, I can do that.
Okay.
I didn't want you to close everything down before I got in.
Okay. Roll call.
Mrs. Mazur,
Yes.
Mr. Methvin,
Yes.
Mr. Iden,
Yes.
and Mrs. Carrier.
Yes. Motion passes 4, 1 absent. Need a motion for employment of certified staff?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Steph. Recommend to advance Minda Trezinka to 22 years experience at a master's degree level on the salary schedule for the 21-22 school year. Recommend to approve the following supplemental contracts for the 21-22 school year. Dave Blue, Assistant Boys Basketball Coach. Sandy Brown, HQSD Committee Member. Mackenzie Coleman, Head Junior High Girls Basketball Coach. AJ Klausing, Head Junior High Boys Basketball Coach. Ryan Meiser, HQSD Committee Member. Ryan Meiser, Assistant Girls Basketball Coach. David Moore, Mini Aces Wrestling Coach. Emily Rodish, HQSD Committee Member, Elementary Musical Director, and Assistant Elementary Music Director. Jared Rosebrock, HQSD Committee Member. Angie Smith, HQSD Committee Member. Christine Steeman, Assistant Junior High Girls Basketball Coach. Heather Taylor, HQSD Committee Member. Tony Tier, Mini Aces Basketball Coach. Recommend to approve the following as a volunteer for the 21-22 school year. Dawn Perna in golf. Recommend to approve the following as certified substitutes for the 21-22 school year. Pam Payne and Dennis Siebenek. What is HQSD?
High quality student data.
Good
Highly
call.
qualified.
Highly
Highly
qualified.
qualified, oh. Well, it's high quality because it's highly qualified.
High quality, yeah, high quality student data.
Gotcha.
It's one of the new OTES
Yeah.
things. It's fun.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Roll call?
All right, get back to there. Mr. Iden?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes. Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent. Need a motion. No. Well, let's do one more on the back page on 4, because it was still under employment of certified. Motion.
Second.
Craig and Galen. Recommend to advance Mike Altman at the BA 150-degree level on the administrative salary schedule for the 21-22 school year. I know he's not here, but I would like to say what a great job Mike has been doing. I know he had a big hole was left, and he has been doing an amazing job.
I agree.
It's like in
Miss-
court where you can't just nod, you have to verbalize
I
it.
know you were looking at me like I should say something.
Sorry.
Mr. Iden?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes. Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent. Now we'll jump over to the addendum of employment of certified staff.
I'll move.
Steph, thank you.
I'll second.
Galen, thank you. Recommend to approve the following supplemental contracts for the 21-22 school year. Mike Blue, HQSD committee member, Kelly Van Horn, HQSD committee member, and Amber Zachridge, HQSD committee member. Yes. And we don't have voting on this, so we'll have to win
We
it.
don't have voting?
There's none actually listed.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was supposed to be read with the other part or just.
There's a, yeah, I was gonna say. vote.
Oh,
So just roll call. it.
for mine. Yes. Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mr. Iden?
Yes.
And Mrs. Carrier?
Yes. 4 yes, 1 absent. Employment of classified staff. Need a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Galen and Steph, thank you. Recommend issuing a 1-year limited contract to Elizabeth Yeazer for the 21-22 school year. Recommend to approve Melissa Crawford as a cafeteria worker from Tuesday, September 21st through Friday, October 29th of 21. Recommend to approve the following as a classified substitute for the 21-22 school year. Natalie Brisky, Kaylee Heffelfinger, Randy Guilford, and Rick Straley. Recommend to approve the following supplemental contracts for the 21-22 school year. John Deal, freshman boys basketball coach. John Haggerty, mini Aces girls basketball coach. Alex McLaughlin, freshman volleyball coach, 50%. Jeff Sleesman, assistant junior high boys basketball coach. Riley Whitty, cheerleading advisor, grades 7 through 8. Recommend to approve the following as volunteers for the 21-22 school year. Kara Meiser, girls basketball. Jay Souls, wrestling. Randy Vanscoter, volleyball. Bob Weatherhead, girls basketball. Clark Zartman, girls basketball. Okay. Questions, comments?
No, but it's always nice to have those volunteer coaches.
Yes, it is.
It's very helpful.
All of our volunteers greatly appreciate. Roll call, please.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Iden?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes. Motion passes 4 yes. Need a motion for the next section?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Craig and Galen, thank you. Recommend issuing a 1-year administrative contract to Melissa Crawford as food service director beginning November 1st, 21 and ending July 31st, 22, contingent upon passing a background check. Roll call?
Mr. Iden?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes. 4 yes, 1 absent. Services and an agreement. Need a motion?
I'll second.
Craig? Steph, thank you. Recommend to approve a memorandum of understanding by and between RFS Behavioral Health Tackle, Behavioral Health, and Hicksville Exempted Village Schools. Recommend to approve Education Option Program Agreement and administered by the Wood County Education Service Center for the Wood County Juvenile Detention Center and the Juvenile Residential Center of Northwest Ohio and Wood County Alternative School for the 21-22 school years. Amounts for the service: $79 per student per day for students assigned to JDC, $85 per student per day for students assigned to JRC. Per seat purchase at WCA is $11,505 for a full year. Per seat purchase at WCA is $5,753 for one semester. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Mr. Iden?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes. Motion passes for yes, 1 absent. Now we are going to move to a motion for other business.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Steph and Galen, thank you. Recommend to approve a quotation for Pro Video in the amount of $64,844.98 for the audio-visual upgrades in the Commons in the high school gymnasium.
Just so you know, that money is paid for through that grant.
It's gotta be like Mike's favorite word, grant.
Yeah, right.
$64,844.98. And roll call.
Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mr. Iden?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes, motion passes for yes, 1 absent. Okay, anything with old business? Any discussion? Okay, now we have unannounced guests wishing to address the board. Mr. Brickle, would you like to go first?
Yeah.
If you'd like to come up here, he's gonna grab you a mic.
Where do you want me?
Just wherever he puts that mic.
Watch out for that cable.
Thank you.
I just got a couple comments. One about the mower. If you're gonna spend that kind of money on a mower, you need to get a diesel engine. They'll last twice as long. That'll cost you a little more to start with, but it'll pay for itself over time. They're good for over 3,000 hours, where a gas engine's good for 15 maybe at the most. But anyway, what I really came for is I got this flyer in the Hicksville paper last week, and I, for the life of me, can't understand why you're having church services or whatever on school property. They've got umpteen churches in this town. They could have them there, they can move around, whatever. I am not in favor of having this kind of activity in the school. And I'm not 100% certain it's legal. I'm not an attorney, I don't know.
Because it's after the school day, it is okay.
Doesn't matter. It's
Legality
still
wise.
using school funds,
No, we're not.
heat, lights, whatever.
No, the program pays for all of the external expenses.
They've got 30 churches uptown.
They are seeking to make
They
it
could go up there, have it here one
non-denominational.
week, over there, whatever.
And it's actually a program that is around the state of Ohio. And it's not as if the kids have to do it. It's a choice.
But anyway, I just thought I'd let you know, I am not in favor of it. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people aren't either.
Well, we appreciate you bringing your views to the board.
Okay?
Legality-wise, that is something that we have looked into. This has not been a quick decision. It's actually been something that we've been working on probably for over 2 years now. We have definitely looked into the legality of it, and it is legal. And we have also, like they said, a lot of other schools use similar programs, if not this exact one. And right, they actually do.
Oh, off campus during the school day.
Yeah. And so really, I would say it's about trying to encourage character building, yeah. And I think most...
That's actually the curriculum's character.
Yeah, but according to this, it's biblical stories and all that stuff, which ought to be teaching Darwin's theory of evolution.
Well, if there is a group that wants to educate children based on those ideas, they're more than welcome to come too. So this is a group that came to us with a program. You know, this is not something that we sought out or...
I still don't like it on school property. I really don't.
Okay. Well, duly noted.
That's all I've got.
All right. Thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to address the board?
I do have a question. No, I do appreciate Craig bringing up the gym use for the public. I think that's a great idea. I just sitting here, I've been already thinking about this before, but is there a way we could push to at least, if we can't do the public, at least first responders, firemen, EMS, police? That would bring in extra, law enforcement, people that could aid if anybody gets hurt out in the gym, I think that'd be a good idea. We're very lacking on any equipment in the department-wise. And also we're lacking members too, so if we have something like that, we could encourage people that, hey, we have this little extra benefit too. I think that would be great. So I didn't know. I didn't want to speak out of turn when he was in here because, I wanted your meeting to go smoothly, so I didn't know if that could be brought up next meeting as a possibility.
I think that, we'll definitely mention that and consider that. I don't think that's an option that we had considered or thought about, so.
Or maybe even look at, I don't know if this is even possible, but I know it's only $20 a year. Maybe we look at something for public.
First responder
First
discount.
responder.
Yeah, discount, maybe their fee would be waived. I don't even know if that's possible, just something we could have a
Because
discussion about.
They'd be great people to have around,
Yeah.
right?
To clarify,
So-
you're talking about using the weight room.
Yes.
Is what you're requesting in addition to
Yep.
general public, okay.
Yeah, because I think, I've been in Amanda's where a lot of us would be working out, and I'd say a lot of us don't really go up there anymore, just due to other reasons, but I think it would be great, and everybody that I've worked out with on a department-wise is very respectful for equipment, and, I don't think you'll have anybody damaging or vandalizing on that end or misusing equipment. So.
And I'd like to bring up too the fact of, with the weight room, with like for Landon, for example, him playing basketball at OWU, he like during Christmas break and stuff like that, he wouldn't have access to anything unless he had to buy, a membership uptown or whatever. So, it would be nice for those college athletes, that come home during breaks and stuff like that to be able to use it as well.
Just taking notes.
Ultimately, I think the public access would be fantastic, but if we're not going that route, I would really appreciate the, at least the public servant portion. That would be great.
We appreciate your input.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay. We are going to be going into executive session for number 1, regarding employment, appointment, dismissal, etc. of an employee. And then just to let you know, we will not be making any decisions during that. We won't be taking any actions. And our next board meeting will be October 18th, now at 5 p.m. We'll do training first before, starting our regular meeting. And then I wanted to let the public know, November, we are pushing our board meeting back 1 week. So we will be meeting on November 22nd at 5:30. So that's 1 week later than we normally do. So I will need a motion for going into executive session. We'll say at 7:15.
I'll move.
Galen, thank you.
Second.
Steph, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Iden?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes. Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.